How's your summer going to be?
You said what?
How's your summer going to be? What your plans are?
Giants of Africa stuff, or no? Our summer is gonna be great. We're in the works of it now. I think now we can work, basically. I always tell our guys that between the trade deadline and now, like is a difficult time because you're almost helpless. You watch stuff and. There's almost nothing you can do about it. You can't help the guys in any way. You can't help the coaches. You can. It's just it's a tough part. But now that it's over, I think I'm going to say the famous words that you guys don't like. I think Eric, you can go ahead and tweet it even before I say it. The spoiler. Yeah. Yeah, the part I say I don't understand. I think I was talking to Range this morning. Like what. If I came in here and said I've decided we're going to do this, and this, and this, and this, I think I'd be a bad leader, right? After one day, after you lose. Is there any decision that I can make right now that is the right decision today? To me, I feel like talking now is BS, basically, like it's absolute BS why we need to do this today. Like you might as well talk to me in like a month. Why do I need to do this today? Because I'm not going to say, I can't tell you that I've made a decision on anything. Yeah, so I wish I could take the questions, but I know what the questions are going to be. I hate to be like this, but there's I would be a bad leader if I come to you today and tell you that, okay, we've decided that we're not bringing back Kyle, or we're bringing back Kyle, or or we're going young, or we're not bringing back Pat, or we're bringing back Serge. I don't know that I can make that decision. We can collectively make that decision today.
Is it realistic to expect with salary cap to bring back all the free agents?
It's not realistic, but I think after we evaluate our team and if we feel that, listen, the end of the year was disappointing, we call a spade a spade. The end of the year was disappointing for us. That series was disappointing for us. We thought we could do better. I don't know what it is, we've started to study it and I can't tell, exactly what it is. At the point we looked wide-eyed. We didn't make shots, I understand, but, I sometimes feel that wasn't our team that we saw out there, to be honest, I don't know if, maybe we should call this day a day of excuses. Rather than a press conference, and I hate making excuses in my life. That's not what we are all about, and I take responsibility first. I blame myself first, I've questioned myself, should I have made those trades? What should we have done? What could I have done better to put these guys in a better situation? And then, as it goes down, we're going to hold everybody accountable because we need to. We need after that performance, we need a cultural reset here. We need to figure it out. Yeah, there's been some success, but at the end of the day, we're trying to win a championship here. To me, making the playoffs is nothing. That's back in the day. Now, we have to figure out how we can win in the playoffs. That's the goal. I'm not trying to hear all these super teams or super person or whatever. Yeah, they are great. But if it was that, then they'll be in a league of two teams or something. But we need to figure out how to beat these guys. That's our job, and that's what we're going to try and figure out. Whether it's now or in the future, I have to figure that out.
You mentioned a culture reset. I know you're not going to tell me specifically, but what did you think of the job Dwayne did down the stretch, especially after the trade deadline, trying to work in the new guys with Kyle in and out?
I think it was a difficult situation for him. There are things that I question, I think our style of play is something that we're going to really evaluate, how we play. I think there are times that I think coach did a great job, and then I think there are times that we struggled. Is it fair to say that, Kyle being injured for a whole month, bringing in two guys. You guys know, like honestly, I'm not a big trade deadline guy. I'm glad we got those two guys. They were excellent for us in terms of what we're trying to do and getting the rights for players of this caliber. But I don't know, like those quick fixes, like what we are all about, like, and to me, we're looking good long term too, like how does that work with a training camp? We have to think about that, the whole team not playing together for lengthy times with Kyle being hurt. I mean, Kyle didn't play 2.5 games in the last series. Like, is that an excuse, and is that a reason for going forward with this team or what we're trying to do? I don't know. Like, it's something that we're going to evaluate. But on the overall, I think there are things that like we can do better with coaching. I think there are things that we can do better. I think there are things that our team can do better. We didn't make shots. Like when we should make shots. Everybody says we should look for three-point shooting, but yes, we'll look for three-point shooting, but the two guys we got, they're three-point shooters. Like we have some three-point shooters on our team. Maybe it's the style of play we need to evaluate and how we do things. And I've discussed that at length with Coach Casey, and it's going to be an ongoing discussion on what we need to do.
When you say culture reset, what you may be referring to a whole spectrum of things, but what does that mean to you?
Just generally, everything, the way we look at everything. I think we've done things here for 4 years, and we've had a level of success, but how do you take it to another level is what I'm talking about. And we have to dig deep into everything that we do. And I'm talking like scouting, I'm talking our medical department, I'm talking everything. Like I have to look at it like overall. I think we're in a good scale in the NBA, like, but how do you get better? How do you get elite in this NBA? And that's what I'm saying, like we can't just pinpoint coaching, like we can't just pinpoint not making shots. Like we have to, our attitude, our leadership, everything, the way we work together. I think those things, like we need to revisit and then get on with it.
Yes, as every year. Can you become elite in this league without a top 5, top 8, top 10 superstar in the NBA?
If we're not doing that, Bruce, then what are we doing? Like where do we go? We should just sit down and not work. Like I think we developed ourselves into being a top 4 team last year. I think with a little bit of luck, like this year, we could have been a top 4 team if the bracket broke a little different. I think everybody sees that. I can make that argument, and it's not an excuse. But like we're not going to, because those guys are those guys. Like Utah got swept, like, so what does that mean? Utah is a great team, in my opinion, and an upcoming team, like, what does that mean? Like, does that mean we should go hide under a table and say we're not going to compete, or, like, these guys are great, and so what? Like, I'm just not one of those, like, we're here to compete with them and find ways to compete with them. And yeah, it's easy to say, okay, how do you live up? But it's the same questions like we asked in the beginning 4 years ago. Like I'm not saying that this is what we've done, but at least we've tried to compete. Like, and try to go out there and compete with the big boys and be there instead of just making the playoffs. Or so we have to find a way. Like to me, those are all excuses. Like we have to find a way to find those players, or the players that we have, develop them into being winners on a high level.
So how is this feeling different from what you were feeling a few years ago after Washington sweep?
Well, I think we've developed more of a team as a team. Like I think there we had, I think the issues were we needed to get better defensively as a team. We needed to address a few things on the personnel side. This time, I don't know if we had enough time with the new faces. I don't know, like, and I don't know if there's anything in the fabric. It's what I'm saying, like the next couple month or so, we're going to dig deep into that and try and find out what is it, like. But one of the things I discussed with Coach Casey is how we play, like we've done it the same time over and over again. Is it going to work, the next time? We have to figure that out. The one-on-one basketball we play, like we have to question that, like we have to really look at it, look at the league and evaluate the way we play and say, hey, is this working? And we've begun those discussions now, so no, I don't see it as the same thing. Look, we've developed young players, we feel, the best that we can, and we'll continue to try and take it to another level. Again, I say it's not excuses here. I'm not that type. We face a challenge here, and the challenge is, where do we go with this team? And where does this team get you? That's the big question, and we're going to tackle that. All I'm telling you guys now is, with the new CBA, it's not something that's easy to just go find players here or trade for player there or sign player here. It's not going to be that easy anymore. Player development is going to be an emphasis, and is going to be an emphasis with our team.
Can you win in playoffs without becoming a team that shoots 45 threes a game or something like that? Or do you think that's where all the contending teams are going to go?
I don't like to follow what everybody is doing, and I always feel that there's a way to do it different, because this is going to run out, and there's some way, somehow, there's going to be another way to play. All I know is what we've been doing has not worked. And I have to look at that. We have to take a serious look at that, because we've tried it, and you know what? It hasn't taken us to the highest level. Now, it's gotten us to a good place as a team, but it hasn't worked for us. So I don't know that that's the way to go, but we have to evaluate for sure how we are playing and figure out a way to change that.
Did you see any flashes of playing a different way and maybe a more sustainable way in Game 2 in the Milwaukee series, Game 5 and parts of 6 in the Milwaukee series, some of the Cleveland series where the ball moved, and maybe in the Cleveland series the ball didn't go in, but you shot more threes, you played a little faster. Did you see anything there that was good?
The short answer is yes. We did. And we feel that there's a way we can play, and maybe we have a chance there. We don't know. But it's something that I've discussed with Coach Casey and the front office and the coaches.
Can we discuss, we get into specifics or won't, how much is the domino of when one decision is made, whether it's you making the decision or whether it's Kyle making the decision, and everything that trickles from there? If he's back, this guy maybe wants to be here, and this guy wants to be here, other people want to come. If he decides to go, or you decide you don't want X player, that guy maybe doesn't want to come, that guy doesn't want to come, and it's a new look team that's maybe a lot younger, doesn't have the same core. Like, how much of it is a domino game?
That's why I say, Eric, honestly, it's stupid for me to talk here, and say, this is what I'm going to do, and all of a sudden Carl says he's not coming back here, an example, it's our jobs to try and get Carl to come back and do it the best way that we possibly can. We want him back. He's been a huge part of the success here, but what is to say, Carl doesn't call me, 5 days from now and say, you know what, I'm not coming, then whatever I've said here, doesn't mean anything, so yes, there's the dominoes effect there, and we have to make the right decision. The big thing is, I think we're growing as a team in terms of development and players and how we want to grow our players and find players, at the same time, you've built this thing for a while, and is there another level to it? We have to account for that and be accountable for that, and we have to decide, is this the way we want to go in terms of money spent too? Those are things that we have to evaluate and say, hey, is this the way we're going?
Do you have a commitment from ownership to spend that money? Because the new CBA tax level, you'd probably be over it with the right moves with your existing team. Do you have a commitment from ownership to go into the tax for the first time ever?
100%. 100%. And I can buy you a new phone too if you want.
With Kyle, you guys have an advantage because you have the bird rights on the player.
Mm-hmm.
What's your comfort level with how many years you would give a guy who's a 31-year-old, soon to be 32-year-old point guard?
That's a clever question, but that's something I'm going to evaluate afterwards.
This idea of a similar commitment if you wanted to go the other direction, if you wanted to walk away from a 50-win team, a playoff team, and take steps backwards to ultimately go forward. Would ownership listen to you on that?
Yes. Yes, I'm going to build all the scenarios, and put them in front of ownership. I think we owe it to everything. We owe it to the organization, to ownership, to the fans. But I think it's something that we have to do. There's sometimes when you look at it, what chances do you have now? And do you plan for 5 years from now? Those are some of the things that we've looked at.
Masai, in that end, how much do you see yourself as that kind of a risk taker where you could make a change, things, and you're willing to go maybe backwards a bit to eventually go forward?
Big time, to me, I love the records. I love, we have to find a way to motivate people. We have to find a way to motivate fans. We'll have to find a way to play hard on the court, and we would have to find a way to find the right talent to make sure that that we're creating a sense of hope in this organization. And no, we're not afraid of that at all. At all, because it might be the right way to go. You never know. We're really going to sit down and evaluate everything, and we'll see where we go from there.
So last year, before the playoffs ended, you recommitted to Dwayne.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give him the same commitment then?
We're talking about it. I had a good meeting with Dwayne this morning, and the style of play is something that we need to change. I've made it clear. And coach has acknowledged it, and he's already thought about it. Just some of the things that we do are just not. It's not working. Anymore. And I've just made it clear that it's going to be difficult for me to keep changing players. Just because of the way the CBA is situated. My short answer to that, Kahal, honestly, is yes, there's commitment, but we are all going to question ourselves. We're all going to seriously question ourselves now and figure out the best way to do it, because Coach Casey has been a phenomenal part of our success here, and in some ways we owe that, to him. But I've told him that we all have to be accountable. I haven't slept because I'm thinking, I know he hasn't slept too, because we were thinking of ways that we can, continue to make these things better and make the right decisions. Have I made the right decisions with players? I question that all the time. Should we have gotten this player? Should we have kept this player? This chance we had where we could have got this one player, maybe it wasn't this kind of. We question that all the time. But on the overall, everything that I think, and I'm saying coaching, I'm saying players, I'm saying the culture, I'm saying that there has been a good level of success now. We're just struggling with how we can take it to the next level. How do we take it to that upper level? And that's the challenge for us now.